The science was always on your side. And look, this is something dear to my heart. Be honest, when we got locked down here, I was training in the stairwells here, and when Virgin opened up down the road, I almost gave everybody a hug and a kiss. And I'm there pretty much every single day. I'm swimming. I just did leg day. It's so important for my own mental health. I've struggled with it in the past. I've struggled with addiction to drugs, to alcohol. For me, my daily gym time is crucial. So I really appreciate you and your fight. Nick, tell us the big news today, and then walk us through this crazy journey you've had for the last couple of weeks.
Sure. So the big news we had today, I'll be honest, we went to bed feeling pretty deflated last night. Our local MP, Angela Eagle, sat in the House yesterday and she asked the question for us to Mr. Hancock, will you provide the evidence as to why you've closed gyms across Merseyside? And she was more or less ignored. So going to bed last night, our entire campaign, the 75% of our gym businesses across Merseyside that have stayed open when we thought we were so close to a victory. We went to bed last night feeling extremely deflated. We thought we had victory. We thought we were 99% of the way there. And then to obviously have that happen in the House yesterday was really disappointing. So to wake up to the news this morning, I woke up to a message on Twitter from our mayor, Steve Rotherham, just saying, check the press. And the press was that they've reversed the decision. They acknowledged that it was wrong. They've called it an oversight. Whether it was or not is, is another discussion. So we're back in business. Our sector can thrive. The science speaks for itself. We've got decades and decades of data that evidence how important health and fitness is, how important nutrition is, from not just from a physical perspective, but from a mental health perspective, as you say. We know that depression rates are up double from last year. Suicide rates are at an all-time high. We've had this data for decades, and for me, it really begs the question, why has nobody asked the question? Why was this even allowed to happen in the first place? And why did it take 7 days for it to be reversed? No one can seem to answer that question for me.
Yeah, one of the most frustrating things in the past 7 months, Nick, is that, we've been talking about this virus, but no one's been talking about how we can get healthier. There hasn't seemed to be a conversation about training, about diet, about building the immune system, about losing weight. That seems to be completely ignored. And yet, we talk a lot about social distancing and masks and lockdowns, but, the human body seems to me that it's 50, 60, 70, 80% of the equation. And then to go ahead and shut down a gym, which is, a primary source for mental health, physical health, it's frustrating, right?
Yeah, I mean, who knew the health and fitness sector is paramount to the health of the country? Who knew? But it's been a long battle, and we don't understand why it's happened. As I say, we've got decades and decades of data to support why, and we, as you say, there's been no mention of getting fitter. My question is, where is the workout to help out scheme? And not to be taken out of context there, I'm fully behind the Eat Out to Help Out scheme. I think it's fantastic that we try to get our restaurants and our cafes, back on the up. But I think they go hand in hand. And I think if we're really going to try and push our economy, we should have done it hand in hand. There should have been a workout to help out alongside an Eat Out to help out. We should have pushed this hard. I mean, here in the UK, we pay our TV license. We have BBC One, BBC Two. How much would it have cost to have a personal trainer spend an hour on BBC once a day to do a home workout, broadcast free to the nation, to try and alleviate some of the strain from the NHS, to try and alleviate, some of the spending that diabetes and obesity costs us? It costs the NHS 9 billion a year. It costs wider society 36 billion a year. We could reduce that drastically, and no one seems to be asking the question. And I honestly can't understand why. And nobody who I've engaged with so far, from politicians to the titans of our industry, nobody can tell me why there hasn't been a push. If we truly want to protect our NHS, which we should do, why has there not been a bigger emphasis on health and fitness? Why has there not been a bigger emphasis on nutritional education? Why is nobody asking these questions? Out of all the elected officials across the country, why has not a single person said, we could probably do this better? Let's open a conversation, let's open a dialogue. Let's push the sector that is potentially the biggest contributor to alleviating strain from the NHS, so we can truly tackle the COVID infection rate and the mortality rate. No one's asking these questions. Why?
And what do you think the answer is, Nick? Do you think they're, strange lobbyists that don't want that to happen? Or do you think it's that a lot of these MPs don't go to the gym themselves? Or do you think they think that the public doesn't want to hear, they don't want to be told what to do? What do you think it actually is?
I think it's two things. So I think first and foremost, and you just touched on it there, I think it's because next to nobody in the house uses a gym. I mean, we know that Mr. Johnson cycles his bike in the summer to, to number 10 for a bit of good press. Whether he actually, does anything fitness related in his life, I don't know. But we know that he's quick to jump on a bike when the press are there at number 10. Nobody that I can see in the house fits the bill of somebody that takes exercise and nutrition seriously. And if you're trying to take this epidemic seriously, and if you're trying to take our health service seriously, why are you not taking our sector seriously? So my response would be, the first problem is obviously the collective of people that we have in charge are not in tune with today's society whatsoever. We know that time and time again, they evidence that to us. And they say, for me personally, for my generation, they push us so hard to vote. Why don't you vote? Why do you waste your vote? It's a waste. It's a waste. Well, now more than ever is clearly evident as to why we do not vote. Because you've shown us here in Liverpool that our local MPs have no power. So central government stated that this was a local decision. Now both our mayors, all of our local MPs, our police have all stood up and said, wait, this had nothing to do with us. This was not our decision. This was central government. We've had this confirmed. And they're just pointing the finger back at our local government saying, no, it's up to them, because they don't want to have to admit they've made a mistake. And I think this is one of the fundamental issues that we have now in Parliament. Nobody is willing to hold their hands up and say, we made a mistake, which I'm sure you'll agree with me, Brian. We all make mistakes. We all make mistakes. You wouldn't be human if you didn't. And we would have more respect for the system as a whole if they would just say, guys, we're in a time of national crisis. It's difficult. We've never endured something like this before. So we're doing our best. We've made a mistake. We've rectified it. We're now doing the right thing. Not once out of all the mistakes that they've made in the last 6 months have I heard any of them say, I'm sorry, we made the wrong decision. Let's try a better way. It just seems to be constantly coming up with new ideas, but not accepting that the previous ideas failed and as to why they failed. And no one seems to be asking the question of how we can do this better. We just seem to be doing the same thing over and over again. And it amounts to insanity, in my opinion. We need fresh blood in there. We need fresh ideas. We need people who are in touch with the people so that we can actually get things done. There is no point having the people leading the country who don't engage with the country.